Hello and welcome to a DM's journal. So, I was just on the struggle bus today. Not today, yesterday. I'm on the struggle bus today. I could not get myself to prep yesterday. I mean, it was just sort of like a little ADHD nightmare. I got up early morning and then I proceeded to do everything but what I was supposed to do, which is prep for D&D. I made some TikTok videos that you can watch if you want. Then at 10, when we had to leave at 1, I decided to go, hey, maybe I should prep for D&D. Of course, we're doing a dungeon crawl. So I was like, great, I need to prep the dungeon crawl, right? And I had to write all the rooms down because we were using my computer and my video camera to Discord some of our members who could not join us for this session. So I had to write down everything. Thankfully, I've learned to relax a little bit, just a little tiny bit of relaxation. I'm not so stressed out when it comes to running D&D anymore. I'm learning to trust myself and my abilities. That's a good thing. I found I knew, because of my previous prepping attempts, what had to be done. I had to make sure that every fight was appropriate. There were about 18 rooms. There were about 18 rooms in the first level of this dungeon, and they explored most of them, and there were a lot of fights happening. I want to run the games hard, but they had just come from a fight outside of the dungeon, and now they're exploring the first layer of the dungeon, and there are lots more fights. So they took a short rest before entering the dungeon this session, and then in the middle of the session they took another short rest. So they're gonna have to take a long rest if they want to get the rest of this dungeon done. But that's not the important bit. The important bit is the fights. I wanted them to be easier at this point. I didn't want a whole bunch of like big, hard final battles. I had a hard battle in there. I had a couple of harder battles in there because I definitely don't want my players to get the idea that this is like a video game dungeon where you're supposed to open and fight every single monster. It's not. Some fights can and should be avoided. They absolutely figured that out very quickly. I had a room full of rasts, and they very wisely blocked that up. There was also a room that housed, it was going to be a nasty little undead fight, and they managed to avoid desecrating that tomb. So well done, but gosh, they do like desecrating tombs. So on the fight balance anyway, the way that I upped things was, it worked very well. It was probably easy to medium. You had some things that they could squish, you had a few things that they needed to last a little bit longer, but on the whole, I think it built the players' confidence as they're crawling through this dungeon. It was, it's kind of fun every once in a while to have something you can kill in one hit. Even if you're level 5, that's super cool. It makes you feel big and strong. And I'll be sure to get them later. The other part of prep that I found was a little bit more difficult because it stretched my creativity in a different way. So I wanted to make sure that any opportunity I had to explain the lore, which is really any time lore was explained in the pre-planned adventure, I wanted to make sure that it coincided well with my own world. And that was harder. The monster prepping was hard because numbers don't work for me. They tend to like swim and flip around, and I just tend to I go blank a lot of the times when math is asked of me because it's just, what? Tea should be ready. What was I? Oh yeah, but the thing about the lore, it's not a lack of ideas that's the trouble. It's almost like there's too many ideas, and they're all like firing around in my head and trying to grab the right one and be like, this one, which connects to this one, and that's all the information I need, not this one and 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 this one. Just start to drown in it. So that was probably the most difficult one because I had to focus on specific bits of lore, and I couldn't let myself get lost in what if mind trails of what if they do this and what if they do that. And there are just some avenues of creative thinking that I haven't learned to navigate without anxiety yet. Of course, everything in my life triggers anxiety because that's just how I am. I'm just scared all the time. And you just learn how to navigate through it. Even though I am gaining a lot of confidence as a DM, the process of maintaining confidence is difficult, but that's okay. It's difficult across the board, no matter what creative project I do. Quite frankly, I tend to get nervous and have a breakdown over it. I'm getting better. I haven't cried over my art in days. Now that I'm able to run the game without freaking out in the back of my mind that I'm ruining everybody's lives, there's a lot more mental space that I have free. At the moment, I have nothing, I'm not doing anything with it. I've just sort of noticed it's there. Noticing a thing is really the first step. And that sounds so infantile, but there is so much going on in the world, especially now with all our ability to access news, our ability to access society and social media with all of the different platforms and all of the different ways we can learn, we can watch things, we can do. We have a plethora of things to notice. So noticing a thing, piercing through all of that noise and brain fog and just being like, oh, here is a nugget of information that has been crystallized. There you go. Like that's an important step, because until you have that nugget of knowledge, you can't do anything. You can't fix any problems unless you know what the problem is. You might be aware that there are problems, but until you have that correct little gem of this is the problem, there's not a lot you can do to fix it. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, but I know that it's there. Ha ha ha. If we're gonna do in-person D&D games more, which I think we absolutely are, I'm gonna need a DM screen. I need it. Oh my god, I need it. So, I mean, I could buy one. I could also buy some wood planks and some hinges. I could make one myself because I paint. And I mean, sure, I've promised a picture for my sister, and I've promised embroidery for my other sisters, and why do all of those three things where I could do this new project I have that means nothing? What does mean nothing? It'd be a cool project. And we don't play for another 2 weeks, so maybe I'll get that done within 2 weeks. So here's a cool idea. I'll have probably 3 wooden panels, and if you have an idea of a picture that you want on one of those panels, why don't you leave a comment on this YouTube video, and the top 3 images that you comment, I'll attempt to recreate in my painting. Do I have any other news? I don't think so. I think that's all the news, and I have to go get ready for work. So, thanks for watching, and have a beautiful day.